Time for another Japanese tool haul video. Let me just talk about shipping quickly. There's been some changes on Amazon Japan. I'm noticing now in the spring of 2022, I've got two options for shipping, standard and priority. So priority is coming, for me, it's coming DHL, 3 days, maybe 4 days, and I love it. The standard shipping, I thought I would try it because it was a little bit cheaper. It was about $5 cheaper. So I put in a big order that had most of these items in it, not all of them, but most of those items. They were all in stock, ready to ship. They broke that up into all these tiny envelopes, all with different tracking numbers, and it took about a month to get my stuff. The tracking is a little weird because they ship it to LA, and then all of a sudden the tracking just stops. It just says out for domestic delivery, and you wait and wait and wait and wait, and then all of a sudden one day you'll get an email notification that your shipment is out for delivery. It might come that day, it might be the next day. So it's just real weird. It comes out of Japan with this label on it. It gets to LA and they slap a FedEx label on it, and then it ships FedEx. The return address up here is weird. There's a reference to a California address and then a reference to a Jamaica, New York address. And I mean, at a month, it kind of seemed like it did go from LA to New York and then back to me. For me, it was worth paying the extra $5 to have my items in a nice box that was shipped to me in 3 days DHL. So I just wanted to mention that before I get into these items. So you see a lot of really miscellaneous small items here, and because I was ordering some more of these boxes. So this is the other Japan rail freight, and you can see the color. I thought the color was pretty good. There was a negative Amazon Japan review about the color, and I was worried about this being a kind of a dull faded blue, but it's not bad at all. I was happy with that. And then the other one that I got that I was really pleased with was this Knights of Sedona themed. And I'm not big into anime. I don't know all the particulars of this theme, but the problem with buying those boxes is you proportionally pay a lot of shipping. So what I do is I buy those big boxes and then I order a bunch of small items to put into the overall Amazon package that gets shipped to me to help balance out the shipping costs versus what I'm spending on actual content. So it only made sense to do that with the priority shipping, where they ship the whole thing in one box and ship it to me DHL in 3 or 4 days, instead of the standard shipping where they split all this up into separate shipments. So anyway, that's why I've got a lot of these small miscellaneous items like a KTC sticker. This is something you can add to a shipment and it basically adds 0 to the shipping costs. It's something a little more fun to get in your order. So this is the cutter mat, A4 size with the Gundam graphics on it. I thought that was pretty cool. This is made in China. Typical cutting mat, what is that, 3 millimeters thick, maybe 4 millimeters thick. And this is A4 size. Just kind of a fun item. Then another one is these magnetic erasers. So in a previous Amazon Japan video, I had reviewed this magnetic eraser, which is really neat. This one I think is the one to get. It's more unique, it's more complete. But this is that Zai brand magnetic eraser, right? So you draw something, you erase something, and you want to be neat and tidy, and this picks up the shavings on the end. And then to dump it in the trash, you go like that. That's that item. I got this Vessel 270BW. Vessel bit handle is made in Japan. I don't know if I would even call this a bit driver. I'd call it like a bit knob. I mean, there's no ratchet, there's no magnet in there. They've just got one side of it with a little bit of a spring in there. It's just a very inexpensive little, I'd call it a kind of a bit driver knob. Okay, that Look at how far, that's how far it goes in there. There is a detent there, but really that's where it wants to go, right there like that. And then I found Vessel made this black and gold style bit carrier. Is also a bit holder with the ball style driver handle, miniaturized. But like I said in my previous review of these, I don't like them so much because this needs to have a swivel on it, because when you're trying to use this as a bit driver, this gets really clumsy. And then this one is made in China. For carrying around bits on a tool belt, those things are great, and I use those. This was a letdown. This is made in China. It's a little compass. The picture kind of had me thinking that it was a little higher quality than this. There's a little bit of metal there, but it's basically pretty cheap. This is like a miniature mechanical pencil. So this here actually advances the lead for the mechanical pencil. I suppose that's, you know, a little bit better than fiddling around with putting leads in these and all of that. Whereas this one is a little more convenient because you've got a little mechanical pencil in there. Now, I don't know how this comes out of there because that goes all the way through. So I'm not sure how this gets replaced, if it is even intended to be replaced. So these, it comes with an eraser and some lead. Okay, so that's that one. Okay, I want to jump up here to the Densan. This was a disappointment, so I've been messing around with this a little bit already. This one is made in Japan. Drywall saw. Kind of like the way it looked. It had blade storage in here, but it's all plastic. The only thing that's not plastic is this brass threaded piece and the metal part inside that with the threads in it that holds the blade. Now here's my total failure on this. So I thought, hey, I'm gonna put this really nice Japanese Olfa stab saw blade in here, made in Japan. The original blade that came with it is shorter and only has the one mounting position. You can see the difference in the quality of the blades. The Olfa is far superior. If I put this in this position right here, then this fits in and it threads in fine, but it doesn't retract all the way. The point sticks out. So if I back up like here, the problem here is that the thread does not fit through this. So this was a fail. This nice Olfa blade does not fit in this Densan BDS 250. Because I'm very impressed with this blade, but don't have anything to properly hold it, now I'm gonna go buy the correct Olfa handle for this blade, and this will just become some plastic junk in my tool drawer. This was a nice surprise. This is made in Japan. It says on the product, it says made in Japan. And there's the description, PH57G. So here's the PH57 201, made in Japan, engineer brand. Let's try to get a good look at the serrated edge on that. And it's a really nice scissors. I've been using it a little bit and I really like this size. I really like this scissors. Very pleasantly surprised with it. I thought that it was going to be a little bit more comparable to this Knipex in terms of size, you know, longer here, but kind of the same handle size. And I was pleasantly surprised to find out that it's significantly larger, but not too much larger. It's not like the size of the Milwaukee. Very happy with this purchase. All right, let's talk about the IPS. So this is a thin, right angle, adjustable pliers. This is made in Japan, SW200. This one does not have any kind of a spring return in it. IPS makes some of their products that have a spring return on this top detent. Chris Cass did a good job of showing that feature on some IPS tools. It's just an unusual thinness and right angle. 35 millimeters on this. I wanted this because I had been doing some plumbing. It was in an RV, and I needed something at a little bit more of a right angle than this pliers. And I used this Japanese pliers to get the job done because it has a nice tapered end to it. You know, you get this kind of bulky end. Knipex makes an 8751-200 that actually I'm going to order that has more of a cut down end like this one. So this was an inexpensive way to add options to my pliers collection. Okay, let me just show you this ruler and then we'll get to the PBSwiss. So this is made in China. Comes with this double-sided tape, so you peel this out and you stick it on this way, and then you have a nice grippy surface. We can see that this edge sits up off of the material slightly. Maybe that's beneficial if you're going to use an X-Acto knife and you don't want the tip of the X-Acto knife pushing against the metal. You just want this guiding edge on the side of a blade so you can cut something without ruining the tip of the X-Acto knife. Or if you want a corner edge that sits down flat, you can push the pencil lead right into the corner and get right on the material. Maybe this is a drawing side and maybe this is a cutting side. I think that's probably how I'm going to use it. The graduations also start flush at the end of the ruler, but not at this end. So at this end, the graduations start and they match. It is graduated in a kind of peculiar way where they've got 0 graduated at the center and then they go out 30 centimeters on each side. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So that's the ruler. Now the PBSwiss. In a previous video I showed this 50 years in Japan anniversary limited edition PBSwiss tools set. PBSwiss made a set of limited edition screwdrivers in the classic handle shape, but with the SwissGrip coating on it. But they didn't put all the sizes of this in this kit. So there's one smaller. So this is the size 1 blade. And I really like this size. I don't know, the size 1 is a really nice, handy size. The other size they don't have in this is a size 3. Okay, so I got the size 3, and that really doesn't fit in this. It barely fits in the elastic, really stretches it out. It really doesn't fit in there. And the length of it is not well suited for this carrying case. That was a little bit disappointing because I wanted to keep this whole set together. But, so those were the 2 items I got to fill out that collection. So another example of PBSwiss putting the SwissGrip on the traditionally plastic handles is this pick set. So this is from DRPD, and I really like the SwissGrip on these picks. The only thing that's disappointing is the pick that I use the most does not come in this new updated style. So this is the pick that I use the most. It has that bent end on it, and I use it and when I'm working with 80/20. To either get these things out or to get them in. I can go in and I can give it a twist like that. That's what I use these for, these picks. And I really like the updated SwissGrip handle on this, but can't get it in the one pick that I use the most, which is disappointing. All right, let's talk about the SANWA CD732. I'm not going to go into any big depth on this because there's other reviews on YouTube about this that go into much more detail by people who know much more about this stuff than I do. So this is just a little bit of a show and tell, basically. I do really like these leads. I'm just trying to upgrade my equipment from the typical the typical freebies from Harbor Freight, and some of the other ones from Harbor Freight. I really can't compare this to Fluke or anything else because I don't own anything by Fluke yet. For sure, right now, for me, this is the nicest multimeter I own. I do like it. The leads are definitely higher quality. Everything about it is actually higher quality. So let's just do a quick comparison of the Harbor Freight and the SANWA. So the Harbor Freight says it's 20.63. The SANWA says it's 20.58. As far as I'm concerned, this one is correct and that one is wrong. And I suppose, let's see here, right? Why not look at this one? So this one says 20.7, okay? So that's even farther from 20.58. And I really want to get some nice test equipment, and I know that this particular SANWA is a nice basic all-around meter. And then I got the clip leads for it. So the way these work is these come off of the gold-plated probes. And then these fit on here like this. And then I've got something that I can clip on. And I've already used these clips. Man, I like having these clips on here like this. So that is the SANWA CD732. So this is the Tone BJ40. So I got my new Milwaukee half drive stubby. This is the M12. And I'm going to show you the difference between this and a typical U-joint. Most of you probably already know where I'm going with this. So it's very smooth. There's little to no pulsing in the velocity. There's a little bit of catching when you get it at its max. Okay, but compare that to Vera 8795C, and this is got the typical universal joint geometry on it, and the problem with that is you get the catching and the pulsing with a universal joint. The velocity. With this, you'll get a pulse or a difference between the drive side input and the driven side output. Whereas this geometry is like a CV joint or a constant velocity joint in a car. I just wanted to try getting one of these nicer, a little more expensive, better designed wobble joints. So another thing that I've been wanting to upgrade for quite some time in my tool arsenal is taps and dies. And I thought I'm going to try getting some of these 3/8 drive KoKen tap holders. So this one, this is a 3/8 tap, and you can see it's just a cheap, stuff you get at Menards and Home Depot. That's all I've ever had for taps and dies, really, or Harbor Freight. And I want to get better stuff. I think it's time I upgraded, and maybe you all can help me. I don't work in a professional machine shop. What should I get for taps and dies? And here is the smaller, this is a number 10 in the United States. And this is the KoKen. And that's 3/8 drive. I can use a crossbar or something like that to turn these by hand. You know, so 3/8 drive doesn't mean I got to drive it with a 3/8 impact. So I got these, and these are really nice. KoKen, wow, the KoKen stuff is really nice stuff. It's very accurate. I mean, it feels like camera gear. I mean, it's just so nice. The threads are smooth. Everything tightens down. There's nothing sloppy about it. I just really like that stuff. It's expensive, but it's good stuff. So then the last item is this. So this is a PROCHI. I know it looks like PROCHIV, P-R-O-C-H-I-V, but it's actually P-R-O-C-H-I if you're Googling it. And that's a Japanese company. I don't know, hopefully we can see this here. They put their company website in just microscopic print right here. That is the name of the Japanese company that has the PROCHI brand, okay? But they don't make this. This is made in Taiwan by SwissGrip. SwissGrip actually is a brand owned by another company in Taiwan. It's a torque measurement adapter, not a torque limiting adapter. What I mean is this is a torque limiting adapter. It's preset at 0.7 Newton meters. You can put it in a power tool and you can drive it and it will just slip when it gets over 0.7 Newton meters. Well, this you can't do that. You can ruin this if you overdrive it past 6 Newton meters. I don't know if you're going to ruin it. They say not to overdrive these. Okay, what do I mean by that? Because you're probably not seeing that information here. Well, here's SwissGrip again in the United States in foot-pounds with this brand here, and in their instructions they say do not overdrive this. I have a different video planned for these, so I'm not going to go into detail right now. Stay tuned for my follow-up video on these torque adapters. So that's it for now. That is March 2022 tool haul. Thank you for watching.